Senator Leahy asked you about the Foreign Emoluments Clause, which is in Article 1, Section 9, Paragraph 8. He asked you whether it was best characterized as an anti-corruption clause. You might remember that in terms of foreign influence and foreign interference. And then he referenced the president and various allegations about foreign influence. Since he asked you about it, and since he asked about foreign influence in government, I think it's only fair that I ask whether, hypothetically speaking, just hypothetically, if there were, let's say, a vice president of the United States who hypothetically had an adult son, who hypothetically worked for a foreign oligarch, who then sold access to his father, the vice president, and his father then intervened in a case to make sure that that oligarch wasn't prosecuted, hypothetically, would that constitute the kind of foreign corruption that the Constitution's concerned about?
I can't answer hypotheticals.
Well, I thought you might say that, and I'm glad you don't and won't, because who knows, that case may come before you. But I think it's a fair set of questions to ask. Let me ask you about something different. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, passed by Congress in 1996. Yesterday, Justice Thomas issued a dissent from a denial of certiorari in a case called the Malwarebytes case. Now, I bet you haven't had a chance to see his.
I was just about to say, please don't ask me about it, Senator Hawley, because I didn't have a chance to read anything.
Well, let me read to you just a few parts of it. It's quite significant, I think. Here's from the opening paragraph. When Congress enacted the statute, meaning Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, most of today's major internet platforms did not exist. And in the 24 years since, we have never interpreted this provision, we meaning the Supreme Court. But many courts have construed the law broadly to confer sweeping immunity on some of the largest companies in the world. He's talking about the big tech companies. And he quite methodically, over 10 pages, goes on to set out the ways in which courts, at the behest of these tech companies, have dramatically rewritten Section 230, changing its liability standards. He talks about changing the distinction between publisher and distributor liability, changing the immunity shield, changing the narrow liability shield, extending 230 to protect companies from a broad array of traditional product defect claims. He says it's quite a thorough statement. Here's my question to you. You haven't read this. I don't think you've had a Section 230 case.
I haven't.
So in general, not about his dissent from denial, but in general, what are the dangers of the Supreme Court or any court rewriting a statute, departing from the text that Congress or a legislature, a lawmaking body, departing from the text they have written, that has been adopted, presented and adopted? What are the dangers in that if a court departs from that and substitutes its own judgment, whether it's done in one opinion over a series of years?
So, as you've posed the question, without respect to Section 230, just in general, the danger of a court doing that is to subvert the will of the people. You represent the people, as has been pointed out over the course of the hearing. Judges are not elected, and they have life tenure and can't be voted out of office. So, if judges misconstrue statutes or bend them to the judge's idea of what would be good public policy, then it deprives the people of the chance to express the policies that they want through the democratic process.